broken and dumped to manipulate the market, flooded from the darknet, flooded from the deep web, keep it a secret. Every exchange got the nerdy brains trading on the frequent.
Hello out there, it's the first instant reward's going to happen. Just give us a moment as usual, just trying to make sure that the audio is properly coming through. Let me know if you can hear you in chat. Hello out there, it's the Perfect, okay. Second stream confirms it. Hello everyone out there. This is, well, people on the internet call me Side Pocket. As you can see with the giant dev shirt kind of obscuring the actual physical blockchain that I'm wearing in what was traditionally called Meat Space, but whatever. But I'm referred to as Side Pocket. As this instant reward goes up, you can go to getincent.com. You can put that code in or scan that QR code and basically get free cryptocurrency as you keep watching this live stream. But let's backtrack a bit. I'm known as Side Pocket. I'm one of the two co-founders of DEF CON 201, otherwise known as DC 201 or DCG 201. We are a computer hacker collective workshop and meetup group that normally meets every third Friday of the month. In fact, our next meeting is going to be January 15th, and we will have details about that soon. Tomorrow, if not at worst, Monday. But because, you know, we're still going through a second wave of coronavirus, as well as never mind police brutality, but just general brutality out there. Have you seen what happened a couple of days ago? Holy crap. We've been live streaming our meetings. In addition to live streaming our meetings, we also have live streamed certain special interests, such as this show. So if you're curious about some of those meetings, or you know, the upcoming meeting, or some of the past meetings, or some of the shows we do, including this one, you can go to that website, you can go to a website, which is defcon201.org. That is DEFCON201.org. You can also find us all over social media. We're pretty popular on Twitter at defcon21nj. And you can go to our website and find all sorts of social media links, from Instagram to GitHub to the Hostux social instance of Mastodon. But I'm going to type in a particular URL. And if you go to that URL, that is a good list. It's not everything, and the URL kind of screwed up there. But it has all the major social media links that you can follow us on. Now, we're going to get into the spiel a bit. What is Crypto Barons? First of all, hi everyone out there who are watching on Twitch D Live or YouTube, as well as those who are watching us on YouTube through Tor. You are super elite hacksaws, as well as hi to the occasional Facebook person that might be out there. Constantly expanding our streaming options, including recently PeerTube has actually announced that you can direct stream. So if our PeerTube instance supports it, we're also going to eventually stream from there. And we've been looking into some other things, but we have different shows. This is my other show that I do every second and fourth Saturday of every month, known as Crypto Barons. And on the show, we like to look at cryptocurrency and blockchain. Hydration time, so I can actually speak. Ooh, that's some good recharge. But we look at cryptocurrency and blockchain technologies, such as what I'm wearing around my neck, as actual technologies. Most of the time when you look at cryptocurrency stuff, you probably hear a lot about market value and, you know, social aspects and how does this affect fiat and the New World Order and all that. And, you know, we do cover points of that. But on this particular show, we like to look at, like, how things are structured, how are they programmed, what tools do they use, can we actually even run these sort of applications that the blockchains are being used on, can we look at the blockchain itself, how can you hack it, and just general technology based behind, again, cryptocurrency and blockchains. And so, welcome to the new year. It's 2021. I have already done the 7-day trial of 2021, and I want a refund already. Including what's going on in various cryptocurrency markets, because there's some good out there. But today's episode, we're going to be primarily focusing on kind of the bad. And by the bad has a specific name known as Facebook. We're going to be looking at a cryptocurrency called Diem, its history. what it's like now, me trying to get the damn thing to run, installed, I should say, then seeing if it can run without crashing the computer, and how Facebook took a concept that we covered on one of the earliest episodes of Crypto Barons, I believe it was episode 4, and somehow made it worse. Before we continue, I will like to say that, one, if you're in chat and you have any questions, or if you can't hear me, or if I'm too loud, or you want to know about the actual blockchain around my neck that's thankfully donated by G.I. Jack, our other co-founder, why I'm wearing a giant dev shirt, what happened to all my crazy hair previously on episodes of Crypto Barons, you can always type something in the comments. I love chatting with people out there, but if you're lurking, I'm assuming you are learning and with your pants on, I might add. So if you don't want to chat, it's perfectly fine. Hopefully you will learn a bunch of things, and I'll be learning things with you, and provided that all the coding part goes well, I'll also probably be swearing. Also, if you like any of the content that you see here, you can click that bell, hit like, share, subscribe on Twitch, DLive, or YouTube. We get notifications for all of those, including notifications if you send us bits, lemons, and super chats. In fact, if you've noticed, there used to be a donation bar above us, and thankfully, we actually hit our donation goal after we ran the charity. Like, we went beyond it. We doubled it, basically. So thank you for all the people out there who donated for that. This bar, however, you will only see on Crypto Barons for the next couple of months, and I'll explain what that is. It's related to DLive. I also want to note that on DLive, because it is the blockchain streaming platform of choice currently, I believe, besides Theta Network, that as per tradition, I'm going to put some lemons in the chest. Not as much as I wanted to this episode, but I do lemons giveaways every Crypto Baron. So if you're from DLive, hi out there, and stay around and chat, and you can hopefully learn some lemons. If you're on Twitch, we're going to raid a cool channel by the end. I also want to preface that not only do I have crap to do, but this is like the longest spiel you're going to see. A lot of this information I covered before, and even then, it's going to be really dense, but really condensed. So this will most likely be one of the shortest episodes of Crypto Barons I have ever done. It's going to be short and sweet, just how she likes it. So I'm glad that you're all with us, and let's attempt to get to the meat and potatoes of these things, or potatoes if you're from Massachusetts. That's going to show up later. Hang on, let's get rid of this part. We're going to come back to that in a moment. But first of all, here's the DEF CON 201 website. Awesomely designed by Ciricel. And we keep making improvements of this. As you can see, we still have last month's meeting on the currently displayed, but in a day or so, we should have all the new details for our upcoming meeting. Trust me, you do not want to miss January 15th. I can tell you that right now. Probably around 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And about that bar that hovers above me, so I found out last month that DLive actually has a whole system here, a campaign called the DLive Crypto Superstar. And as they said here, they're joining the BitTorrent X ecosystem, because we covered what DLive is based on with the BitTorrent coin and lemons and the previous chains they were on and stuff on episode 3 of Crypto Barons. You can go watch that on YouTube and some of our other hosting stuff pretty soon. But since they're joining that ecosystem, they want to bring a new content category. And basically, they want to really highlight people who do cryptocurrency stuff on DLive. It's one of the reasons why we slant towards DLive when we do Crypto Barons in particular. So Crypto Barons is really for you folks out there. So if you're on DLive, thank you for watching. And donate some lemons our way, because we like giving them to people. We get donations from the poor and give back to the poor even more. So that's kind of how that works. There's some awesome benefits for this. Most of the stuff I'm not too concerned about, because despite the nature of Crypto Barons, we're not really interested. I mean, eventually there's going to be a system where you can donate fiat and cryptocurrency to us to help us out, get like new equipment and better streaming and content, but I'm not really too interested in this. I'm kind of more interested in just seeing if we can obtain this crypto superstar status on DLive, as well as kind of get featured on DLive because of it, because I think we're like one of the few, if not the only, hacker channel on here. If you know of any others on DLive, please let me know in chat. I'd like to talk to them. The standards for this is you have to stream cryptocurrency and blockchain content, have 10,000 has 1,000 followers in your existing platform, All of our social media platforms, including our website, easily surpasses that by a lot. I mean, heck, even on Twitch, we are well above that number, so that's kind of neat. We share this announcement that that in our existing platform, so we're sharing this right now, and if we need to make a permanent video, we will later on as well. And the other things is that in order to maintain this, we have to stream 4 hours a week, or at least 2 videos per week on our DLive channel, which in addition to this show, we stream a bunch of other shows. And we have at least 5 unique other crypto-related channels in every 2 months, which is something that we can definitely work on because of the amount of content we generate on this. The only limit here is the 100 followers on our DLive channel. Now, we are very happy and excited that so far, as you can see with the bar above us, that, let me just see, make sure all these other volumes are well and done here. Okay, good. The bar above us, that we are currently 68 followers on DLive, which, you know, for a new channel on DLive for about like 6 months ago, I think that's pretty good. And we might be able to get more views considering they banned a bunch of asshats from there who had a long time coming. Seriously, they were taking a lot of views away from really good DLive channels that we subscribe to. So if we do the math correctly, let's see, 80, 90, we are roughly 32 followers away. So every Crypto Barons, I'm going to have that banner at the top. And if you're on DLive, if you want to donate lemons, that's great. But what we really ask, you don't even have to subscribe to us. Just follow us. And when we get to that $100 goal, which I realized I forgot to set with the 100 at the end, but it's 100 followers. We're literally roughly 30-ish away. So if you're on DLive, make sure you follow us, tell your friends about that. We would love to get crypto superstar status. But we're not here to talk about DLive because we already covered that episode 3. Let's talk about what the big topic we're going to do here, very condensed, which is Diem. Question out there in chat. Has anyone heard of Diem? If you've seen our previous episode, Diem might look very familiar. In fact, this whole website here looks very familiar. This website barely changed from when last time we checked this, back when it was called Libra. I'm a Libra. So now they've taken the confusing word Libra, which is a whole category of people out there. Yep, people said vaguely. And have replaced it with the word Diem, which means you can make endless Kepam Diem jokes, which is why our... By the way, if you know what the title of this episode is in Latin, please say so in chat, and you're freaking awesome. But yeah, this is literally the Libra project, and there is a couple of changes, but this is kind of more like when Riot renamed itself to Element, aka one confusing common word for another confusing common word. A lot of this is very visual, and we're going to kind of explain why in a moment, why they did a name change. In fact, their claim is that they called it Diem because it's a new dawn for them. And like what we do previously, a great recon, and especially if we want to detect bullshit, is we're always fascinated to see what cryptocurrency groups and developers, and here's the new instant reward, think about themselves. So it's very important to kind of watch their propaganda, even if they're doing a good cause. So let's quickly see and hear what Facebook wants you to think about the Diem project. So here we go in a second.
Remember when these were fast? And these? Technology has improved the world around us. So why is it simple to send one of these anywhere in an instant, but not money? So why is it simple to send one of these anywhere in an instant, but not money?
This is why we normally preload our videos.
What if we made money truly global, stable, and secure? What if everyone was invited to the global economy with access to the same financial opportunities? Introducing Libra, a new global payment
They
system
also haven't
designed
changed
for
the
the digital
video.
world, backed by the belief that money should be fast for Ope in Lagos, simple for Saul's family business in Manila, and secure for Betsabe when sending money home to Mexico City. It's powered by blockchain, making it safe and accessible, no matter who you are or where you're from. So join us as we move towards a world where money works for everyone. This is Libra, and it's just the beginning.
So this was fascinating for a couple of reasons. First of all, as you can see, the name change, despite the name change happening in December 1st, was so fast and so sudden that they haven't even updated their kind of intro video on their website. They might have on their YouTube, on their website, about what the Diem is. They literally use the Libra video. And I'm extra happy that we checked out this video, because this is going to compound and contrast some of the changes that they made for this. So let's kind of quickly get into what Diem, which used to be Libra, is supposed to be. This is part of what's literally called Facebook's blockchain initiative. This is going to be not just their own cryptocurrency itself. It's literally going to be a payment platform. So the best way I can kind of describe it to some degree is think of it as this weird mutant combination of, like, imagine if Bitcoin, Coinbase, and Cash App were all one thing and developed and ran by the same company / institution. And that's what Diem is. Basically, it's putting its fingers in every single pocket. Some of the stuff that they claim here is, again, they're going to piggyback kind of the same way how Instagram integrates a lot with Facebook's own backend structure. Same thing, and famously with Oculus, where you now have to require a login to have ads be beamed into your eyeballs. That they're leveraging, like, this mobile platform they're on. They're also claiming about how stable it is, fast, which we'll get into that. They want to have this as a global scale, and I know there's some NWO stuff creeping up in your brain, and you wouldn't even be wrong here. It's scalability, which actually it does, simply because Facebook is so monolithically huge and has so much resources, and there's so much stuff being supported and piped into it that it actually would be scalable. It's kind of like, imagine if Amazon launched their own cryptocurrency. It would be hugely scalable because they'd be running it off of Amazon Web Service, and we know that they've reached quantum supremacy, aka the worst named Star Wars Star Destroyer in existence. And they're trying to also claim security as well, but no comment on that, especially since it's coming from Facebook. In fact, we're going to get into that. They have a whole white paper, which I may click on or might not click on. Kind of more stuff here. And then there's the Diem Association, which we'll look to in a moment. And then the development section, which we will also look into in a moment. I'm going to see if we can... I think the white paper is built into the website. So we're not going to go through the whole thing, but we just want to see what it looks like here. And as they note here, on December 1st, the Libra Association is renamed to Diem Association. This white paper originally published by the Libra Association in June 2019, way before people started licking doorknobs and rubbing their butts at each other, and then reissued the standalone updated April 2020, right when coronavirus hits. Replaces previous versions, blah blah blah. So they're just like, hey, we had some name changes and updated. Their goals here is this is fascinating because you're going to see some changes here. Offering a single currency stablecoin in addition to multi-currency coin. So basically, they're like, why not both? They want to enhance the safety of the they didn't even change the name of the Diem payment system with a robust compliance framework. Forgoing the future transition to permissionless systems while maintaining its key economic priorities and building strong protections in the design of their reserve. And boy, are we going to talk about that reserve. So there's this whole crazy white paper. It's really fancy. I'm also just happy it's not in like one giant malicious PDF, to be honest. So kudos for them for that. But you're kind of wondering here, so why is it called Diem now? Why did they change the name? And also, what's changed? Well, I'm kind of glad that you asked. Also to note, because we're going to bring this up again, that they do have a GitHub, and in fact, unfortunately, I was rushing through this so fast that I forgot to put, normally on Twitch, there's a widget if you scroll down, and it would have like the GitHub in there. I actually might do that in a second live on air. But for all you folks out there who are not on there, that is the GitHub to Diem. It's very confusing because, again, even though they changed the URL to Diem, a lot of stuff, basically if you go to github.com/Libra, it will auto forward to Diem, which makes this really annoying because, like, if I try to, like if we go here and I try to fork one of the repositories, see, it's going to say you already forked this because we forked this for Libra a while ago. See, I clicked on it, and there it is. And literally, outside of minor updates, not much of this has changed. So you're actually going to see something a little behind the scenes here, where I'm going to go in and it's called customize the repository. So I'm going to get rid of OpenCoil, which was a really cool thing to look at. And we type in there, and then save pins. And now on Twitch, when you scroll down to see the widget, and probably you have to reload the page, which would suck, but still, we do now have it linked on our Twitch thanks through our GitHub widget. So I just wanted to point that out there. Let's kind of go back here. We're going to revisit this GitHub in a bit here. And you can see they have so many different things. They have the Diem core itself, which is apparently majorly written in Rust. You have the client SDK, which is the Python client library for it. The off-chain reference here for the KYC data, which we will get to in a moment here. The wallet, the reference merchant. This is all stuff we're going to get to. The Java version. Oh, we're going to talk about that Java version. You actually might be surprised at what I think about it. The Liquidity emulator. Just so many different stuff here between the website and that My First Client. Boy, do I have a lot of stuff to say about that My First Client. And then we have the association itself, which is basically a renamed version of what was the Libra Association. As you can see here, they once again highlight open source, scalable, and secure that they want to be, and that the role here is responsible for the governance of the Diem network and the government and the development of the Diem project. And then there's a whole organization process. Not much has changed to try to get in. Basically, if I remember correctly, you have to basically have like a couple of $1,000,000, and then you have to be on good terms with a bunch of other corporations, and you also have to be, I believe, referenced by someone who's currently in the Diem association. And you can see all these creepy, smiling people here who are here to be in charge of this whole thing. Something that, we kind of expect from Facebook. And here are some of the current members. As some of these names have changed. Here's a heifer. Coinbase is in. I don't know what Bison Trails is. Anchorage, Lyft, Keylad, Kiva, PayU, Shopify. That was the new announcement. Spotify was the announcement they made a week or so ago. Uber. So both rivals are on here. The list is actually slightly smaller than it was before, and we're actually going to explain why in a moment, because here's why they had to change the name, and I shit you not, they try to claim otherwise, but this is true. Basically, as you can tell with Zuck's lizard face right here, Libra got into a lot of shit. Never mind that, like, giving one of the biggest companies that is not shy of trying to out Microsoft and trying to achieve the dream that Microsoft had of having a giant tech business monopoly, but actually achieve it and do it and literally fight the US government for it, among other governments, is just no. But But there's also been a lot of accusations on Facebook for very valid reasons, such as the amount of spying that they do, the bias, these ads, as you've seen. They used to be like, no, you can show a video of some guy with a red hat shooting some black person in the face, and now they're like, don't kill us here, we'll ban all these bad people because they're spineless. That's just kind of the end of the day there. As well as, things again like in order to use Oculus, you need to have a Facebook account. There's no other way around that. There's similar issues with Diem as well. We will get into that in a bit. But yeah, they just came into a ton of shit. And because of the wifty-wafty nature of it, PayPal left the project now. For anyone who personally knows me, I am nowhere near the biggest fan of PayPal. Quite the opposite. I technically have a PayPal account, but fuck PayPal, because PayPal not only likes to fuck me over, but they like to fuck a lot of people over, not just my friends. They've honestly fucked so many people over that I would probably nominate PayPal to be like the biggest, like basically instead of Epstein Island, they should have just called it PayPal Island. That's like the level of fuckery PayPal does. But PayPal is huge when it comes to fiat finance stuff globally. I mean, it's the OG. It's like how Amazon started off as this little bookstore thing, and now they own our DNA and our thoughts and dreams. So when PayPal left, there was a mass exodus. Visa, MasterCard, Stripe, what is it here? Mercado Pago, which I guess is a foreign version, kind of that. eBay, all withdrew from the Libra Association, which is now known as the Diem Association, and there was basically a giant panic attack. Also, in addition to all of like the, hey, all of the, hey, why are you spying on everybody? What are you doing with our data? Why don't you get rid of the bad people? Why do you guys have no spines and no dicks? And so, because this whole episode's going to be kind of one giant headache, just because of the nature of this. In addition to that, obviously, whether for good or for worse, it's really hard to be a world cryptocurrency when the world banks see you as competition. Everything from Cash App to other cryptocurrency. Like, it's basically the only, like, literally, Diem, formerly known as Libra, is the only time I have ever seen, like, basically other cryptocurrency organizations and blockchains, Monero, Bitcoin, things like that, and world banks not necessarily agree on something, but have the exact same talking points and issues. And so nobody was happy with this. Basically, Facebook was, in this list, let's look at it from a U.S. perspective, Facebook was trying to replace the dollar bill, like, with its own corporate version of the US dollar bill. So, of course, no one's going to like this thing, never mind all the other terrible stuff with Facebook. So, Facebook basically did this Saddam Hussein South Park thing of the I Can Change song, and they made a bunch of concessions. Let's go back to this, to how everything's set up, which ended with their name change on December 1st. And I'm going to read some of the changes that I wrote right here. So, first of all, originally if you notice, there was a lot of backing by and we're going to get into code in a moment, the Libra Association. The Diem Association is way hampered down compared to what they're allowed and what they control. So because of that, for example, originally one of the big issues was that Diem wanted to be its own currency, but how do you do that with fighting not only rival fiat currencies, but also rival cryptocurrency versions of those fiat currencies, which you're going to be seeing rolled out in countries like China and Nigeria, and eventually probably like the last place will be the United States in like 22K. At that point, we're probably going to be known as like the United States of fuck. At that point, we will cease to be the United States of America, but I digress. So the way they kind of placated everybody is that Diem, instead of it being backed by its own muscle, being backed by its own Diem Association, it is now backed by all stable coins. So not only will you be able to trade Diem, you will also be able to trade in other stable coins, the keyword stable coins. You will not see Monero on here. I'm pretty sure you won't even see something like maybe even Dash on here. because of the nature of those coins. Because we're going to cover stable coins in a future episode here in 2021. The other thing is that Diem also has official backing for different fiat currencies. And in fact, they have names for them. If you see in the future a Libra and a named cryptocurrency, and a fiat currency, that's the Diem backing of it. So for example, you can convert Diem into what's known as Libra USD, which is essentially USD. You see what I mean here? Diem is basically, it's like the old idea of money where the banknotes represent gold. Well, in this case, the Diem represents the dollar bills. And I remember where people used to make fun of me, by the way. I'm saying that in the future what's going to happen is that we're going to barely have any physical cash, and that eventually physical cash and coins as we know it, while still being in circulation, will be basically seen in the same way that gold was to the gold standard for the US dollar bill and coins, and people thought it was crazy, and this is literally what they're doing here. I'm not saying it'll be successful or not. I really hope it's not. But that's what's going on here. So the second thing that they changed is that the whole Diem process, believe it or not, is not decided by the Diem Association. Basically, the Diem Association basically can make suggestions about how things should run and suggestions how the coin develops. But now they are officially supported. They are officially run and audited by major banking entities such as the World Bank and multiple different IRSs, or like the United States IRS and things like that. So there goes that nature, and that's going to feed to one major change at the end. The third thing, remember we talked about the, let's actually bring that up here, that the KYC there? Let's go back to their GitHub where they had, where is it? Oh, there's the Go client. I should try that later. Maybe not on air, but I should try that later. But let's see, off the chain. Yeah, off-chain reference implements supports exchanging payments, information, KYC data, and KYC data between VASPs. So KYC data, for sadly, what the acronym stands for escapes me right now. So if anyone knows better in chat, please type it away. But basically, KYC data is basically authorization data that you're allowed to do payment on. What that means essentially, for example, obviously, if you wanted to sign up for a bank account, you've probably been through that process that when you open up, for example, a new debit card or credit card, that you have to bring like a piece of mail sent by like through the mail system from some major government or banking entity that proves where you live. You have to show your social security. You have to show some sort of government ID, such as your driver's license or passport. That's what KYC data is. Those are just the United States examples, and here's the new instant reward. But every country has one of these. So now you need to have, and it's really strict, this type of data to create the wallet. So it's not like other cryptocurrencies where even a lot of stable coins, you can just download the wallet and use it. You know, again, Dash is not technically a full-on stable coin, but it's close enough. You can just download the Dash wallet. You can start buying and trading Dash. I mean, you might have to show an ID in order to do the trading part, but you can just use it. In order to just create the wallet, you have to have this type of data, and this causes two problems. One, if you remember that video, they had this vision that what Facebook was really counted on, the same way how Facebook really pushes like adoption of Facebook in like worse off countries. I mean, we're technically a worse off country in America, but for example, India has huge swaths of rural and poor population in those rural areas, just a huge amount of them because they have so much land. And basically, Facebook has muscled their way in so much that not only have they had legal problems with the Indian government and companies there, but that to a lot of Indians, Facebook is the internet because they basically built all the modern infrastructure for it. They're basically hoping to do that, but in a financial sense. So basically, their plan is that people could download this wallet. In fact, the original wallet, which was called Calibre, which we will look at its current incarnation, you're going to notice this, was supposed to be open source so that people can develop this. Now, the project overall is open source. That's why we can look at it on GitHub. but the wallet no longer is. And that's because now it needs this data. They used to pitch this thing that even though they would have a core wallet called Calibre, that people would be able to take the open source code and make their own wallets. That's not going to happen anymore. And this causes issues because in those rural, poor areas of countries, you can still open technically a wallet without the KYC, but there's going to be huge restrictions and probably spying on what you can and cannot do. Honestly, you'd probably be safer with like stuff like PayPal and Cash App over this, literally just because of that alone. And then probably the biggest thing about this, even for a stable coin, is that initially this was supposed to be a centralized coin, but it was only supposed to be centralized for the first 5 years just so it becomes stable. So it circulates, the blockchain is large, they test out security features, financial features and market balance, etc. And then after 5 years, it's kind of like the reverse of Hong Kong and China. After 5 years, basically, they would transition it until anyone can log onto the chain and use it, and thus giving the keys to all the people who currently have wallets. So it was to give the bank back to the people. One of the huge concessions they had to make, especially to the United States. The United States and the European Union, and this is bipartisan, by the way. We have no political parties to blame. This is literally the fiat party, the party that literally runs every single country. There is no, I love the wording of this. They said they have no comment and no future ideas of when this will be decentralized, which is basically code for this will be a centralized platform forever. So it's literally digital money, except unlike physical money where you can kind of like put it under mattresses and stuff, this is something that can be easily tracked and traced. So it's actually even worse than physical money because of this type of stuff. Again, you're probably way more better off using Cash App than any of this. So those were the concessions that were made to change. But again, this is Crypto Baron. So what we're going to look at here, and I'm probably going to stream to like maybe 9:30, but again, this is going to be a really short episode. So just putting that out there. And thank you, by the way, for everyone watching. If you like what you see so far, again, you can click that bell, like, share, subscribe on Twitch, DLive, or YouTube. On DLive in particular, we are going to, every Crypto Baron episode, we're going to try to reach 100 followers so I can get that crypto association ambassador label, and we can do some really cool stuff on Crypto Barons with that. And also send us lemons on there, because near the end, we're going to put lemons in the pot and share it to the rest of you all. And then on Twitch, we're going to raid a channel near the end. So we're already like over halfway through what I wanted to show here. I know it seems like a lot of tabs, but trust me, we're going to get through a lot of this really fast. So what we're interested in, now that we got all that business and terrible business and economic crap out of the way, because it is really bad, let's take a look at the developer portal. So this is their portal where you can experiment with the SDK, the client, everything's backed up on GitHub. There's various topics and tools to look into. This is sort of their portal. You can access the white paper at any time. Again, this is the actual Diem core. And there's note that this is a prototype, that the APIs are constantly evolving, and which is what we're going to look at first, is the test net for this, right? So that's what's going to be neat here, is we're trying to install these test nets and see what they're like. And we're going to do this to the best of our ability. This is the part where I don't know if things are going to go right or wrong here. And that's what we're going to look at the remaining of this episode. So we have a bunch of different things with the test network, and we're going to look into how to set up the test network and then try to do a transaction. And then we're going to take a look at the client, how to query the blockchain, and then run a local test validator on the network. And again, if you're kind of confused of how a blockchain set up, literally on our first episode, we coded a blockchain in JavaScript, if I remember correctly, from scratch, and we also checked out a Python variant to show more visual examples. So after this stream, go look at our first episode if you want to catch up on this. And thank you again for watching. Oh, this is going to get me thirsty. I might have to take a break to refill some water in a moment. And then we're going to look at the Diem reference wallet. We're going to try a public demo of it, and the test wallet, and the admin dashboard you would have as an administrator for the wallet. And then we're going to look at some of the merchant stuff that they have on the test network. So the first thing here is my first transaction. Now, for all of you who remember the last time when this was Libra and we tried this, this was a huge pain in the ass. And it also was a pain in the ass under Diem. We're going to get into why in a second. The first main and the core problem was that it literally took forever. That's why we're not doing live installs on here, as far as I know. I already installed the test network and the client ahead of time. Everything else is through a web portal. And the reason for that is because now we actually have a machine that is powerful enough to do it, and that still took like nearly half an hour to put everything together on. Like a good, this is like a gaming machine that we're on. It still took an annoying amount of time to build. There's also a lot particular with the dependencies, prerequisites, and coding of it, but we'll get into that. But just kind of show you here, and actually this is the part where we're going to switch over to the terminal. So let's do this here. Browser can go away, and terminal. There we go. So I'm going to kind of scroll through the history of this and sort of explain what was going on here. And then we're going to look at, now I'm going to also explain how we looked at the client, and then we're going to attempt to test both of them out. So first of all, interesting thing, piss-ass time trying to install this on the Ubuntu subsystem. Kali, ironically enough, the penetration testing system ended up working. So score 1 for Debian and boo for Ubuntu for both of these. Although I think the second one was not Ubuntu's fault, and we will get to that in a moment. But this was actually doing the test network. Let's see if we can scroll all the way back to the beginning here. So the first thing that you have to do is you have to clone their Git repo and then cc into Diem. So we did that, and then what we had to do was we had to set the checkout to the testnet, and that's the branch that it set itself to. And then we ran the devscript.sh, and what this did is it loaded all these dependencies. Now, the thing about one of these things, and this is also what made my existence, is fucking Rust. So what you don't see beforehand, which is why I learned on the Ubuntu one, is that I actually went and installed Rust using specific commands that work in subsystem before this. So even if it installs another Rust, that would work, because the problem is that the way it installs Rust on here, and we're going to get to that when we get to the My First Client with Python, is that it tries to look in a particular directory when the actual terminal is looking for a global installation of Rust, which it doesn't do. So if you ever run this, in my opinion, install Rust beforehand and make sure you're at the latest version, then do this part. Because at worst, it'll just avoid the Rust part. I also put in CMake, which in terms of this instance of Kali we didn't have. Clang, grcov, locov, the package config, the libssf dev, which is something you'll see in every blockchain thing. I think we even used that on our first episode. The SCC SC cache, and the GCC Power Linux GNU whole setup here. So I went through and installed all of these. It unpacked and packed and just did all of these dependencies. It goes kind of almost on forever, right? And it's the nightly version here and stuff. And what I'm trying to get to, if I can find it, maybe I scrolled past it by accident, but we'll find out here. Here we go. It's down here. So we got all of that done, and now, once that was all built, we had to run cargo build. Now, here's a note. I personally find, and by the way, note, normally we would do sudo in all of these, but because of the nature of Kali, where it already defaults to root or su, I would also recommend actually going into su to building this for root access. Ideally, if this didn't work, you type in cargo build and then space -- verbose. But thankfully in this instance, all we had to do was type out flat cargo build, and that worked. And so that built this whole testnet system. And it's crazy because on Ubuntu it kept failing. And it kept failing because, again, it was confusion with the Rust dependency. So I made sure to get that out of the way for this. We're like, is it working? Is it working? And it installed. So yay! Yay on that. I'm actually going to type in a letter. Yay, that worked. So that was all the crazy steps. to just installing the test network. Now, we are going to get into in a moment how the test, we're going to try to actually use the test network, but I actually want to switch to another Kali terminal, because normally I would do this, but I just want to get these stories out of the way, because this is kind of insane. And trying to find it here. Here we go. And let's look at another Kali terminal. And let's talk about installing the My First Client. And actually, I'm going to bring up the My First Client page here in order to explain everything. So this is an introduction to the client development or test nav, the official SDK. That's actually why I want to get this out of the way, simply because I noticed that the screen's a little low-res blurry, so I'm going to see if I can actually zoom in a little bit just to make it easier for everyone to see. But yeah, this is for if you wanted to develop the, this is basically an example of not necessarily what the Novi client's going to be like, but what a client interacting with Diem would look like, and basically you can develop your own test client. So this is developing all the, developing all the nuts and bolts for it, so you can make and run your own, code your own client. There are 3 different versions of this. Now, here's what's annoying. It says to clone, and first of all, you notice they forgot to change the word to Diem, even though this does forward to there, and it should work. You have to clone the My First Client Git repo, which I have up here. And what's annoying, which I just noticed, is it says there are 3 SDKs, Java, Go, and Python. But in the actual repository, they only have the Python, the Java version. You have to, which I just realized, go and find the Go version and then try to compile that yourself. We might do that a bit at the end, but again, this is going to be a short episode, and worst comes to worst, we're probably going to have 20 minutes left. So here's the hell I was going into, just trying to get the My First Client environment to install. So we're going to switch back to the terminal here. So the first thing it said is that you could just try to run. So first of all, I cloned it. And then it says you're supposed to run make. I did this, by the way, both on Ubuntu. I did this on Ubuntu. I did this on Kali. And I did this on, what's the name of that? I have it on here. The MSY S2 using Pacman manager commands. So I tried make, and all it does is it lists. You have to type in make Python or make in Java. So I can tell you, spoiler alert, I don't have it up here running, like the errors for this. This does not work in Python. I'm sad to say. It took until I was trying to do it with Pacman, with the MSY, that I saw what the error was. And from what I can understand, it's in twofold. One, as it says here in the dependency section, you need Python version 3. Not Python 3, Python 3.7 whatever, and pipenv, which actually I should bring up the quickly the browser for that here. But yeah, you need Python 3.7 version and pipenv, which I have over here, which I installed and used pipex to install pip, to install the pipenv or the pip environment, in order for this to work. Now the pip environment was fine. Here's the part that drove me crazy. They literally mean you need a 3.3.7 something to run. Meaning I have Python, if I remember correctly, and I can actually type it in at some point. I have Python, if I remember correctly, 3.91. So note it says here, does it say you need Python version 3.3.7 something or higher? You need 3.7 something. Because as I found out when I ran this with Pacman commands, this gives me a headache just thinking about this. They haven't updated the code to make it make sense in the way now 3.9.1 does. So there's literally a command for installing the dependencies in the Python version that won't load because of the way you have to actually type out the install function, which was implemented in a 3.8 point version. And that's why they're telling this. Basically, we have a repeat of something I hate a lot with cryptocurrencies, where in order to do certain features, and I'm glad they're moving away from this in Linux, you need a older version of Berkeley database, and you're stuck in a weird loop where you have to load an older version of Berkeley database, but nothing will run because it's looking for the new one. But if you run the new one, then it won't work because it's looking for the old one, and So now, here's the thing. I could be Super Elite Hacksaw, specifically download an actual lack for better word partition or dev environment for like a Python 3.7.1 or something, and then tell it command when I make it to point to that specific folder where 3.7.1 is to make it. But honestly, at this point, fuck Python. It pains me to say that. I'm not even a big fan of Python, but still, fuck Python with this. This is like, people say Ruby development's confusing. What the fuck? Like, literally what the fuck? And partly is they need to honestly update the new code for that, but honestly, this weird divide of moving, like, oh, we're not using periods, we're using quotation marks. You should never do that in a coding language. Like, that's literally qualifications to fork to a new coding language. No wonder why they depreciated Python too, so like, fuck that. Sorry about that rant, but that was literally 28 minutes of my life I could never get back. Funny enough, what did work was the Java version. So as you can see here, and we're going to switch back now to the terminal. Let's find the browser. There we go. So as you can see in the terminal version here, the first thing I had to do was I tried to install Gradle, which I did. I just used the apt install, said yes to everything Gradle, did all of its good stuff, installed all of that in. Took a while, just double check to make sure I didn't skip anything. Yeah, it took a while, but after a bit here, I think this took like 8 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, I think. Gradle got installed. So I'm doing a list, checking it twice, and I go in the first client, and I try to make it, and it doesn't want to make. And I try to make it, and this is me actually fighting with the Python version, and so I'm like, you know what? I actually found the actual .sh, so I just went in the folder for Python, instead of doing the make Python folder, just /make-python.sh, and you're going to see here, exclusion done, execute Python example, and then all of these warnings have, again, Python 3.7 was not found on your system. You can specify Python with, again, that's the actual code for Python environment, and you point to the environment. But again, why are these errors coming up in the first place? I should just be able to say Python or / and it should work. Fuck this. So this was me going nuts. So now I'm like, okay, I already have Gradle installed. Why not try the Java version? It might be more bloated, but we'll see. So I go into the Java version and I try to run it, and it seems to be installing, but then there's a failure. Build time failed. What happened? So it's a build file. It has to do with Gradle, and so it says to run it with Stark Trace, and I didn't need to do that because I was like, okay, what version do I have? And I checked it, and there's a new incent reward. I had from the repositories in Ubuntu/Debian Gradle 4.4.1. I'm not going to show you the page. Actually, let's switch back to the page here real quick. If you look at the browser, what does it say we need? Gradle version 5. So basically, the repository version of Gradle is behind the actual version of Gradle we need. Now, thankfully, as annoying as that idea is, because again, at least it's not Python asking for a very specific version of Python, it seems the Java's working, it's just the other dependency is not working quite well. But we can solve that potentially. So as you can see here, what I did was I looked up the version, that's how I knew, and then I looked up how to actually install Gradle, and I'm making sure I have the correct Java version. And so what I ended up doing, as it said, is they do have it directly off their website, but in order to do that, I need to install something called SDKman. This is, I like the snazzy logo here. This is what they use to actually build the SDK for the newest version. So I did that, and then I sourced the SDK directly to the init. And then I checked the SDK version, and so I had everything, and it said it should be at 5.9 point something. As long as it's above that, you're good. That's awesome. So then I did the command I used the SDK to install Gradle, and the latest version was 6.8, which is well above version 5. So I downloaded all of that, and I had the latest version of Gradle. So now we repeat the process. We do listing, I go into my first client, and again, we can't do the make Java thing because there's errors. So I cd into Java, list, and then I actually run the script, and it took a lot because, it's Java, but, and let's see if I can find it here, because I kind of skipped ahead. Let's actually type. There we go. It did it. It seems like it actually compiled. So I'm not going to count my chickens yet. We tested that, but at least it didn't run into a fucking wall that Python did. Now, could it explode on me later? Who knows? But just wanted to let you know, that's how much it took to actually get both the testnet and the dev environment for the client. Now, we will look at parts of the code for how you would develop the client under the testnet. We're not going to actually compile it for today's episode because that's a whole other thing, and trying to get the terminal instance to talk with a GUI instance, it's just going to be a mess. So we're just going to simply look at the code you would do to make that. We're not going to actually try running any of it because that's its own nightmare, and even if I didn't have time, I wouldn't have the time or the patience, because this was already like over an hour's worth of beating my head against a wall, by the way. So, and again, as I switch back to the other terminal display in here, how screwed up do you have to be, Facebook developers and coders, to screw over Python by being way too specific and making the Java version easy to install by comparison? They made Java look good. How do you do that? Welcome to Facebook. So my thought is, if you can get this multi-billion project blockchain off the ground, you can probably get anything off the ground. Go apply to that job. Fuck if it's a senior position. If they ask you what makes you better than other engineers, just point to how crappy this thing was set up. So again, this might explode in our faces tonight, but we're going to, now that we have the first client, we're going back to the first client, and we're going to see if we can build that client and connect to the testnet. And hopefully, so if this episode just all of a sudden ends, just note this is the computer crashing because of CPU power or fucking up with the internet by going to the testnet or whatever. So we're going to attempt to try this here. And before we even do that, just in case, if you like the content that you see so far, you can click like, share, subscribe on and hit that bell on Twitch, DLive, or YouTube, especially if you're on DLive or DLive, because as you can see with the banner above us, every Crypto Barons, we're trying to reach a 100-follower goal in order to reach the Crypto Superstar status, which will allow us to do a lot more on Crypto Barons than what we normally do. And we're not even asking for lemons, even though near the end we are going to share lemons with a bunch of y'all. I say y'all like I'm actually from the South. And probably very poorly too. But no, is that all we're asking is, if you haven't followed us on DLive, click follow. You don't have to donate any lemons. There's no money or cryptocurrency in that. Just follow us. We have a bunch of other cool shows, including our meeting on January 15th, which we'll be posting details soon. We'll have cool hacker stuff. Like literally, there's going to be some really cool hacker stuff this meeting in January. And yeah, if you know any other people on DLive or getting on DLive, especially after they ban those fuckwits, tell them to follow us. They get to learn cool hacker shit, and whether it's Crypto Barons or learning how to pick locks and Master of Unlocking, Arch Linux stuff with GI Jack, our other co-founder, or crazy hacks like Hackall and Commander, or just any of the other stuff. So we're just trying to we're like literally roughly 30 away from 100 followers, 32 to be more precise, on DLive. So if you're on DLive, please follow us and spread the word. Also, you can send us lemons, bits, or super chats. We get all those notifications to chat. So without further ado, we're going to see because if this thing fails, I'm just going to be like, fuck this, and we'll just continue on with the rest of the episode, because we actually don't have that much to go. But what we're going to do now is we're going to do this script, and I copied and pasted this simply because I don't want to make a typo and all of this implodes itself. So here it is. We are going to run the start client testnet. We're going to hope either the internet doesn't crash, the CPU doesn't crash, or both. So, or the program actually didn't properly install on here, and everything was for bunk. So we're going to find out. So here comes the big enter of judgment. So it's now building and running the client in debug mode. It's downloading the crates, hence the whole command we had to do. with cargo build. Get it, cargo and crates, ha ha ha. So now it's doing all the building. We're going to see how long this takes, because again, I have no concept of, I've never done this part. I'm literally waiting to this part to do the episode. In fact, while that builds, I'm going to sneak away for a little bit and refill water. So I'm going to play a bit of music while this builds, and if it's not done building when we get back, we're just going to move on to other parts, and hopefully it will build by then. So stay tuned in a bit. Enjoy watching this build. Let's find it here. Okay, so let's see here. Hi, I'm back. Just a quick introduction. While hopefully the remainder of this compiles. Actually, I'm probably using the wrong term. It's not compiling technically, if I remember correctly. It's putting together all the packages because cargo is Rust package manager again, hence creates cargo. Ha ha ha. But for all the people who aren't aware here today, this is Crypto Barons. I'm Side Pocket. I am one of the two co-founders of DEF CON 201. We are a computer hacker collective group. We do workshops and fun hacks, and sometimes lead hacks when we're good enough. Normally the third Friday of every month. In fact, our next meeting will be on January 15th, so stay tuned for that information to come out in a day or so. But we also broadcast a bunch of different shows with different special interests, from lockpicking to Arch Linux to many different things. And today we're doing cryptocurrency and blockchains, but we're looking at them as code and technology. As we did cover some policy and markets today when it came to Diem, which is the terrible Facebook cryptocurrency that we're looking at trying to run its test network using Rust. And as you can see, it's a little rusty itself, but that's nor here or there. So that's what we were interested in now, in the last couple of minutes here, is trying to see if we can get these test networks to work and just putting out the different code. And so if you like what you see so far, even though most of this has just been a giant terminal wall, or you're interested in some of our previous episodes of Crypto Barons, future episodes of Crypto Barons, our upcoming meeting on the 15th, future meetings, other shows, you can find us all at our website at defcon21.org. That is DEFCON201.org. You can also find us all over social media on very different things. In fact, I'm going to actually post our link tree in the chat again. And we're on Twitter at DEFCON201NJ. We're at DEFCON201 on Instagram, on the Hostuck social instance of Mastodon, especially with the mass bannings going on. I know there's a couple of intelligent people who are legit not dickheads who have moved over to Mastodon, so you can follow us on there. Yeah, so I don't know if it's going to go over this for... Oh, they finally did it. It just went over that hump. Okay, so let's see. Connected to Validator, testnet Diem. So just as a recap, what we've done previously is, ironically, we're running Kali Linux. I tried to do this under Ubuntu, but it didn't want to work. Or I don't know if it actually had enough actual processing resources. But Kali actually worked. Actually, I think part of it was that a lot of stuff was already preset up on Ubuntu by design first, our sub OS here on Windows, because we're using Windows because OBS listens to Windows better, and so again, it was trying to look for a universal install of Rust. When we only installed it locally, so having Kali just be a flat, when you do Kali subsystem, it doesn't have anything on it besides the actual core operating system and terminal, probably helps that I was able to install Rust beforehand and get all of this stuff in. So now we put everything together, and now we're running the test network. So we connected to the validator, which is at oh, this is fun. I'm going to copy paste this in the chat. This is kind of cute. So I don't know if this means anything, but apparently that's the test network. And it's saying here all the different usage. We have our own little terminal here. And I'm actually going to recopy these commands in here just to remember. So A is for account, Q is for query, T or TB is for transfer. Let's see here. B is for blocking. That's good, because sometimes my friends do that when I try to hit on a girl. Then H is for help. And probably the most important thing here is the theme of 2020 into 21, which is Q is for quit, which is really what... I can't think of a better thing for Q to actually do than quit, because the games have now gotten very boring and have cost people lives. So we're going to test some commands on here that they said. So we're going to try this step. So the first thing we need to do is we need to create an account for Alice and Bob. So we're just going to use the full command here. We're going to make an Alice and Bob account. Alice and Bob is every time you talk about cryptography, which is where the word crypto and cryptocurrency is supposed to come from. Remember, crypto is in cryptography, or crypto-Judaism, or cryptozoology, not cryptocurrency. Alice and Bob are often like the two names that are used when we talk about two people trying to do something with cryptography of exchanging one text with another covertly. And in this case, we're going to look at transactions because, again, this is a blockchain. This does use cryptography, so that's what we're going to do. So let's see here. So we're going to create an account here. So like if we enter, let's try this. If we just enter account, hopefully I spelled that correctly. So that shows all the commands here where you have create, list, recover an account, right? We can mint cryptocurrency just for this. Kind of like when this actually is very similar to, it's a more complicated, more competent version of the JavaScript blockchain that we put. Remember that? So if you remember that whole thing, what we actually built was a blockchain test network, and this is just a more comprehensive version, so we have a lot of the same commands, even though these are actually built in instead of using existing terminal ones. So now we're going to do account create. So we create an account. So let's see here, there should be an address. Yep, right here. Number 0. And that whole string of numbers that I'm going to copy and pasta here, just for my own mental records for this episode, that is Alice's account right there. So that's Alice's account. We're going to call her Alice, and 0 is the index of Alice's account, and the hex string is the address for it. So now we're going to create Bob's account, and what we're simply going to do, because again we can't name these, is we're just going to, what programmers do, where if it doesn't work once, just type it in again. So we're actually gonna, let's see, can we actually get a reference for this? Yes, we can. So now we're creating this, and you notice that's account number 1 with its own address, and that will be, oh boy, we accidentally controlled C out of this. Damn it! Ah! All right, let's see. Hopefully, it won't take as long as beforehand. Let's try to do the test network again. Welcome to keyboards doing stupid things. Because we already, okay, so it just auto-connected there. So hopefully, I think everything's already set up there. We can actually tell, because I believe if we do it again, we will get a number 2, which I guess we'll call like Steven's account for just talking purposes here. So, oh yeah, there's no record. All right, let's try those commands again, simply just because if it happens again, then it's just an extra account on here. If not, then we'd have to basically do this again. So account create. Okay, so actually I need to copy. I'm not going to copy pasta this time. Actually, screw it. You know what? Let's pray. Okay, I did it right the first time. So this is the numbers and stuff you see there. So that's the new Alice one. Actually, it should be the same as the old one. Okay. Wow, so they don't have the randomization yet. I think it just generates the same numbers. That's neat. I didn't think that was going to happen. Let's double check with that. Yeah, it's the same numbers. Okay, because it's test network. You have to be able to have repeatable results. So, at least now we know. So we created 2 accounts, one Alice, which is 0, Bob's is 1. So now we can show the accounts by doing account list. And we can see the 2 accounts here, and we can verify, so that's their public key and private key. I don't mind that the private keys are showing, simply because this is the test network. It's designed to go up and down. You can't tunnel through this because it's just a simple, stupid network. Alright, so now we're going to mint some Diem coins. This is something you won't be able to do in the final version, hopefully, if it doesn't get hacked. So now we're going to do account, and we're going to mint to 0. So we're sending this to Alice's account, which is 0. Let's do 110 coins. And coin 1 is the currency code for the test Diem coin. So these are specifically test coins for the test network. Sometimes you might see there's a Bitcoin test one or an Ethereum test network. That's basically, they are essentially Bitcoins that aren't part of the Bitcoin blockchain. They don't mean anything because it's designed to test the system that will eventually be brought in. So we're doing something similar here. So let's do that. Oh, there's an error. So we have an error transferring coins from the faucet. What did we do here? So let's look at what we typed. I'm trying to read here. Account create, account list. Yep. So account mint 0 coin 1. All right, let me just make sure that I did this right. Let's again, if you don't succeed, try again. Oh, there was an error. I wonder what the error is. Alright, we're going to spend a minute or two just figuring out what did I do wrong? Or maybe there's an actual bug here with the test network. Who knows? Because I know there's already been problems being sent. So we did the account correct. We did the account listing correct. Coin 1. Yeah, this should have done the correct output here. Let's see. Transferring for faucet, unable to get account currency. It's info for coin 1 when converting to on-chain units. Let's go back to our commands here. Transfer, blocking, help. So let's actually try the shorthand here. So I just want to see for accounts. So let's see. So we're gonna add these coins. So I just want to make sure everything's correct here. Account, yeah, mint. So it's supposed to go receiver account ID, or their address, number of coins, the currency code, and the make it widescreen here so I can read. Currency code, unit base. So let me just look at the syntax again. So let's see. So we had count, right? So that's the So we have count, mint, and then the ID, which is 0, and then number of coins, the currency code, which should be coin 1. I don't know if there's a command to actually look up the currency code. I just want to try a different, let's see if we can do a slightly different command, see if we get a different result. Okay, so error from transferring coins from faucet, unable to get currency info for coin 1. I'm just curious, would that also work if it's not coin 1 and just coin? Huh. Well, this is really weird. Seems like we've hit a roadblock here with this error, because normally I'd spend more time on this, but I'm honestly running out of time for what's supposed to be a very short episode, and I don't want to make this 2 hours if I can help it. So, add account. Let's see, mint. Yeah, if you have any ideas, let me know. And again, if you like what you see so far, you can hit that bell, click like, share, subscribe on Twitch, DLive, or YouTube, especially on DLive, because we're trying to get more followers to get that crypto superstar status that we can do more things with crypto barons on. Let me know in chat if you have any ideas. If not, you can keep lurking and watch me suffer with this. So let's see, write, save Diem, recover Diem wallet from file path. Okay, so let's just see. Okay, thought that. Oh, okay, I see what's in there. Okay, so let me just go back to my cheat sheet here. Count. So let's see. So we're going to do LA. Yeah, those are the accounts. Index 0. Public key, private key. Now, here's the fascinating thing right here. It says that instead of 0, we can add the actual. We can add the actual address. So I'm going to try that and see if that changes anything. So, and then otherwise I'm just going to move on from there. So we're going to do account, mint, and then the address, coin to coin 1. So I think it's definitely the coin 1 part that's the problem. So that's weird. Trying to think if there was anything else that that's in here that we were supposed to do. I'm actually going to scroll up a bit just to see. Okay, so account, query, transfer, blocking, info, help, and quit. Okay, so something's going on. I just want to try querying and see what that comes up with. So let's see. Query balance, sequence, account state, transaction number, sequence number, range, event, account resources. Let's try QB0. Yeah. No account exists. But we made the account. That is very bizarre. Hold on. Let's try this. Let's try creating an account again and see what generates. Yeah, now there's a to address. Well, we created the account. So I don't know why, and we can look at the accounts. Now there should be 3 of them. Yep, there's 3 of them right there. So I'm not sure of it. It seems like it's that currency code for the fake Diem coins. Oh, why did that double? And let's go back and remove that. Yeah, we have like an error with, let's see, I need currency info to coin 1, converting to on-chain units. I wonder why that is not working here. Let me just look into the rest of my notes to find out. Alright, you know what we should do? Let's see if we can actually mint to the other one here, because that will definitely tell us if that's the whole coin code. Yeah, it's the coin code. So what the frick is going on here? We try coin 0? Or, you know what? Okay, invalid number of arguments for mint. This is something I'm probably going to have to submit to the GitHub for this. Because basically I wanted to do the whole Alice and Bob exchange, but like right now, this is legit causing me craziness here. Let's see. Minting, let's see. It's a validator node you connect to. You'll get a service unavailable network if your balance was not updated after submitting a transaction. Okay. Check if an account exists. Alright, let's try this command here. So query account status 0. Okay. Let's try that again, just to see if we get the same error. Use account state, and it has its key. So for some reason, I think the whole coin, the currency code is like not working for some reason, and I have no idea why. So we still have a little bit more to cover on here. So unfortunately, that's going to be the end of the transaction part. I really wanted to show you that. I'll put it this way. Even though we're going to have a different subject next episode, if I'm able to get this to work, we will cover it either at the beginning or the end of our next Crypto Barons episode, which will be on the 23rd at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Twitch TV Live and YouTube. So, but they're not done yet. We're now going. I'm just going to show you. We're going to go back to browser mode here because the rest of the stuff's in browser. So sorry about that. This is the testnet's fault as far as I'm concerned. Just some of the code that you would need to do for the whole environment here when we're in Java. So the first thing your client code will need is connect to the network. And I just want to try something really stupid here. Okay, like I really want to try something really stupid, and if it works, I will show everyone the results. Yeah, no, that's this. This is basically we would open a coding environment for this, and that's not happening. So for Java you would create the testnet client, and then you would basically write the Java code in order to make the private key and public key and the authentications. This might actually help. Request coin 1 from the faucet. I might look into this testnet segment here later on with like Nano and see if maybe this is the line that's screwed up. Or there's a Python version. Maybe it's the Python version that's screwed up. Who knows? But definitely in the future, I'm gonna have to go look at it. And then we have a whole block here for like, again, we've put Libra. We have the client, the private key, the auth key, about how the entire process is sending coins here. You can see this looks similar. I mean, we were using JavaScript, not Java, but the same sort of setups here on how we sort of made everything, where we had to generate the different keys and what the Genesis block was and stuff like that, and the whole verification system. And so that's this whole thing here. So even though I did all this work to set this up, and it was a fun story, I just wanted to do that in order to kind of show and talk about that. This is the actual page I had for this. So let's see here. So there's a whole thing, and unfortunately, because we've hit a wall here, I can't do any instructions here to query the blockchain, but that would be the next step that we would be able to do here on the testnet. We'll have to revisit this at a future point because we're going to be doing a lot of development stuff in the future. And then we could actually run the validator. Let's actually try that. So I just want to double check first testnet. I just want to make sure that they're two different commands here. Dev setup. Yeah, we already did the dev setup. So let's try this. We're going to switch back to the terminal real quick. Oh, first of all, we have to exit out of this. So there we go. Now let's try this. Okay, so that moved the source over. So what else? So now we're gonna run the cargo test on it to run the validator. So let's see if this works, and hopefully this won't kill my machine. Oh, what the fuck happened here? Okay, I know it's a long thing here. I want to double check to make sure that was the, yep, that was the command. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. So now that's building. So that's good. And the good thing is that we can restore the previous ledger state and then use the previous configuration. So that works. What's really neat about this apparently is that we can actually also run this in Docker to use the test network validation. So while that builds, we're going to switch back over because the rest of this quick stuff is in browser. We're looking at the kind of nuts and bolts about Diem. If I see an update here with all of the building the validator system, I will switch back to that near the end. But let's kind of look at the demo wallet here. So they made a public demo wallet, and we will actually get into what the wallet's going to be in a moment because it has its own web page. It's been made to allow the public to try out a wallet running on the testnet. It's meant to be run as public online demo service, so we can send Diem coins to another Diem wallet, retrieve, exchange, convert, view transaction history, and all of that jazz. So we're going to attempt, here comes a new instant reward, but it's embedded in the page here. So in order to log on, we would need to sign up. We'd have a username and a password here. Just for, I know this is only a test net, but just for security's sake, I'm just gonna make up something here. People probably listening to my keyboard trying to figure out what I'm typing. Ha! Oh, that's actually neat. It said that my password was too weak and it actually won't allow me to sign up until I use a strong password. That's actually kind of promising right there. That's honestly really cool. So actually props to the test wallet that you need to actually do that. So I'm gonna enter some more information. Oh wow, it needs everything. So we're not going to continue on here because of this bull crap. But just to show you, remember how we're talking about that? It needs all that KYC, not KFC, but KYC information here. After we tried to sign up, it needs our first name, last name, date of birth, and a phone number. Oh, we can also choose a dummy identity. I didn't see that. Let's see, Amber Leowitz, Maria Ritchie, or Lane. What are these names? Weingard. I'm leaning to Leviowitz or Wingard. Okay, so apparently that doxes him. I hope that's not a real thing. They already filled us out. He's from Kansas, at Lango, Worcester. That's in the Champlain Islands. That's just a lot of... this is neat. So add your photo ID. For use of the United States, please take a photo. We're skipping this here because obviously we can't do that. Choose your default currency. We're going to have United States dollars. And now this is the test wallet. So this is technically this is the bare bones what the wallet could look like. We have our little settings panel here where we can add credit cards and stuff like that. I don't know if we can change our password. We can definitely log out of here, so that's kind of neat. I don't know how to get... There we go. And we have the send area here. We had to the recipient's address, and because this runs on Facebook, from what I understand, you would actually have to put in the person's Facebook address, or at least their wallet address. If they're not directly connected to Facebook in order to use this, will probably eventually be the exact Facebook address. Especially when you look at how they've been unifying, WeChat, there's the whole thing where are sharing your information and you need a face account for that and stars and all this lovely jazz. So that's an example of the wallet in browser. Now we can try, there's a local web wallet. Let's see if we can, let's see what we can do here with this. Oh, this is just explaining the previous wallet. Sorry, I'm kind of dumb. Now the other thing that we can look at, and for some reason this tab didn't load, these two tabs did not load for some reason, is I want to see if we could try out some of the merchant stuff, which is, the storefront things, but I don't know if that's going to load anytime soon. In fact, I'm going to look back at the Kali we're running, and it is still building. It's probably going to build until after we stream, so I have no idea why it's taking this long. So while these tabs are attempting to load, and in fact what I'm going to do to release the load size is I'm going to kill this section of the browser here, is let's look at, so this is Navi that we were talking about earlier. It used to be known as Calibre. I'm actually curious about that. Maybe they change, because Calibre is also like a popular open source ebook reader, and I wonder if they had some conflict with that, and that's one of the reasons why they changed this to Navi, because they changed this to Navi way before Libra was changed to Diem. But as you can see, it's like connected world with the wall. It's very Facebook in design. Actually, do they have a video for this? Oh yeah, Calibre is now. Is this the same video as earlier? Or is this a different video? I can't tell. No, I think this is actually the client. Let's watch this together, and then unless something's compiled, that should be the end of our episode here. So let's hear what we have to say about Navi. If it's the same video, I'm stupid, and we'll just wrap up.
Everything you told me from the
And I'm actually going to stop that there, and actually I'm going to go in chat and type in test, because I was not expecting music in that, and I just want to see, okay, so we're all clear currently And hopefully, like, I don't know if that music's copyrighted or not. It probably is, and they probably don't expect Deuce like me to live stream, and that's why I nipped in the bud there, because we've literally reached that point when it comes to live streaming on the internet. So let's kind of look at the rest of the stuff. So it's like for everyone. Navi changes the way money. Basically, and as you can see here, it's integrated to it has its own client as Navi, but it's also going to be directly integrated into Facebook Messenger, just now known as Messenger, and WhatsApp. And you probably remember the WhatsApp, or the WhatsChat or whatever, from its whole scandal of now it basically gives all your information for the government and you have no choice. Like, even if you use encryption, they're still going to send all that information unencrypted to the government because, you know, Facebook has no spine. And as you can see, it's very similar. It's actually very similar to how you would send money on Facebook, where you just click on the person's profile, type in the amount, and you go. Same thing with receiving. And what they're saying here is that this is going to be instant. Now, here's my issue with this, is that you probably have noticed previously when building like the different building the network and stuff, how slow this is, even for like a Rust program. You'll also notice as we get all the way to the bottom, there is like a sign up to get Navi first, right? And an FAQ, but there is no GitHub page for this. And again, originally Calibre had a client for this, because you were able to do this open source, so you'd be able to fork and make your own client. Because of its compliances, it's not allowed to do that anymore. And we're actually going to switch back to the face cam right now, because basically we're at the end here and it's still compiling. But I just want to note that this whole Diem, I can't believe they somehow made it worse than the original Libre. Video frozen. We should be properly, like, I know it's kind of frozen on YouTube. I'm pretty sure, yeah, we're not disconnected, so you might just have to refresh your feed here. Hopefully nothing stupid happened. Oh, it is frozen. That's so weird. It's frozen. Let it go. Let it go. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna reload the let's reload the video capture here. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if it's no, it shouldn't be that. Everything was going fine then. That is so weird. Hopefully you can all hear me out here. Let's see. It is kind of acting dumb. Oh well. So, hopefully you folks can all hear me out here. And my understand, the stream itself is just being dumb. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close a bunch of tabs to try to like offset all of the crazy load stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if some of this is the merchant tools. Now the merchant demo thing loads, although it didn't fully load. So what that tells me is that there is problems loading the merchant stuff on those pages. And the other stupid part, by the way, about all of this, and we're going to quickly go back to the chat screen, even though you probably won't be able to properly see this, is that the rumor about what they're going to be using to validate their blockchain is Chainlink, because as Green Sock Monkey wrote, the Chainlink, there's been connections here where Mark Zuckerberg talked about fixing Facebook and working internal for decentralization. Green Sock Monkey did dig further, and basically David Marcus left the team for Messenger, and went to blockchain services, and then in June 26th, in June of 2018, they reversed their ban on crypto ads, because they used to not allow cryptocurrency ads, and now they do, and so it's like, So then, basically, Facebook Marcus's steps. So basically, Marcus, who used to be Facebook's Marcus, was a guy who worked at Facebook Messenger. He stepped down from Coinbase, citing conflict of interest. So he left the Messenger service, worked at Coinbase for a year, and then came back to Facebook. That's not suspicious at all. And then there was a rumor that they were developing cryptocurrency for WhatsApp, which later became Libra, which then became Diem, which then later became Prince. And then they acquired Chain Space, which is the smart contracts they're going to use, hence how they're going to validate the chain. And then Mark Zuckerberg posts in March 2019 a privacy-focused vision of social networking. Let's see, a company called Libra rebranded to Luca. So that must suck that they had to rebrand because of Facebook, and then now they don't even use the name anymore because probably of other copyright issues. And then probably, I'm trying to look for the smoking gun. Oh yeah, Facebook was talking to Visa and MasterCard. There's the rumors of the project. They registered a bunch of euros called under Project Libra. And I think it's updating now. And then Facebook required the Libra name in around May of last year. And then they hired two former other people from Coinbase. And then they held talks with the CTFC over about like global blockchain services. And what was the last bit here? Let's see here. More blockchain. Yep. And then they added just a bunch of blockchain developers, and then they finally posted the white paper for Libra, and yeah, so there's a good amount because of how many people came from Chainlink into Facebook as well as from Coinbase. That Chainlink is probably going to be the smart contracting system for Diem. So thank you, Green Sock Monkey, for doing all that journalism there, some legit journalism. In order to find that out, I'm actually going to, if anyone can actually see it, post his link in the chat. So we're going to switch back to the face cam now, as my voice distorts. And I'm going to be mad if it's the actual node part. In fact, I'm going to cancel this and see if that helps there. So hopefully that works. But anyhow, we're actually at the end here. And of course, I'm going to do two things. So first of all, thanks for everyone for watching in on this episode. I'm sorry if it got a little finicky at the end over there, but sometimes that happens because I don't know when we sometimes do cryptocurrency stuff. I try to do tests beforehand. As you saw, I preload a bunch of stuff, so we actually got to look at some code. But a lot of this time, when we don't pray to the demo gods. Demo gods freaking hate our guts. And so a lot of this time on Crypto Barons, we don't know what to expect on here. While I'm talking here, I'm actually going to do the whole lemon exchange. And then we're going to go raid someone on Twitch and call it a day. Because I was hoping to only stream for an hour, but we actually streamed for 2 hours. Still a short episode by Crypto Barons standards. But, again, I thought this was really informative, short and concise. And it was also really nice to revisit a previous thing that we covered, literally because so much had changed in such a horrible way that it just was crazy. So I put some in the chest right now, and we're distributing right now. So everyone in D Live, you have about 30 seconds to get a bunch of awesome, literally get a bunch of awesome. You get some bunch of lemons that eventually you can ship out. Lemons, basically, for those of you on Twitch, they work exactly like the same way bits do. In fact, I think they predate bits, so there's often a question of was Twitch developing bits all along, or did Twitch see DLive's use of bits, especially after PewDiePie originally moved to DLive and had a contract with them and went, seems to be a rival service. There's this weird thing called Lemons they do that people like. Let's copy them. Nobody knows. Ice Cube. I wouldn't be surprised if it was later, but shit happens. Okay, so apparently, I'm just seeing if there's any cool tech things right now, but per usual, it seems that, let's see if there's actually any cryptocurrencies that might be ready. Sadly, not today. It's just one crypto bot training, unfortunately. Yeah, because the person who normally does cryptocurrency stuff is just doing it. Ooh, wow, that podcast is going on. So you know what? Normally we do woke. We'll probably host woke later, but let's actually instead, let's go raid this cool channel. These are actually a group of people I've been talking to and reaching out. Oh, and now I finally see the video caught up. That I want to eventually bring onto actually G.I. Jack's show, Archfile Linux Perspective. So we're going to attempt to raid their channel. And hopefully everyone who got got lemons, although right now my internet's going crazy right now. And so yeah, so again, thank you for tuning into the show today. Hope you learned some cool blockchain stuff. We got to look at some code. We got to look at some code and see how it didn't work, because terrible programming, and I'm still mad at Python, or at least their bullshit that they did in Python. You know what? Actually, as much as I like them, let's raid the usual, because I think that's more relevant. Again, for all of you who are watching, our upcoming meeting, DEF CON 2.1 meeting, will be next Friday on December 15th. I can't wait to see you there. In the next day or two, we're going to post awesome details about that. We just have a few kinks to work out, because I'll put it this way: one of the people who wants to speak to this actually got banned on Twitter because of what he did in terms of hacking. So it's gonna be really nuts. So I can't wait for everyone to see that. The next Crypto Barons, I can tell you right now, is going to be, again, we do second and fourth Saturday, which is a mess because everything's off kilter in January. So our next one will be on January 23rd, and I can't confirm all this stuff now, but I can tell you the theme. New Jersey was one of the